Regional Reference
Senator
Group.
Birmingham.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, my question is to the Minister representing the, it's actually to the Minister for Broadband Communications, Senator Conroy, unless there's been a reshuffle. Still there at present, Senator Conroy. My question to the Minister, Mr. President. On how many sites has remediation work on Telstra pits been delayed as a result of asbestos concerns? Has work on any NBN rollout sites been delayed as a result of asbestos concerns? If so, how many? Further, what are the range of delays to the handover of Telstra pits that will be experienced by NBN Co as a result of Telstra's cessation of works in certain pits as a result of asbestos concerns?
The Minister for Broadband Communications and the Digital Economy, Senator Conroy.
Thank you. Could I congratulate Senator on getting a question on the National Broadband Network? It's quite amazing, Mr. President. I'll try and I'm sure you'll assist me during the course of my answer. Telstra have remediated, I understand, over 120,000 pits, and there have been notices or incidents reported to Comcare, I think 29, of which a number of those have got nothing to do with the National Broadband Network. So even if you add those in, that's about 0.02%. I did note, no, not one is acceptable. Let me be very clear about this. There are no shortcuts here when it comes to dealing with asbestos. Everyone is required to follow the rules, and that's why the procedures were written into it. You, Senator Brandis, who knows all, that is exactly why, if you go and have a look, Senator Brandis, instead of pontificating pretending you're on the High Court, if you would just not be an expert on everything, Senator Brandis, if you could just manage not to be an expert on every topic, we would be able to complete my answer, Mr. President. So those, I know that's very hard. So no shortcuts are acceptable to the government, none whatsoever. In terms of the meeting that Senator Shorten and I convened, we brought together Telstra, NBN Co, the contractors, Comcare, all of the relevant authorities, including the trade unions involved in this. And what agreement was reached at that was that Telstra's remediation of pits would cease until training standards were all agreed, and to make sure that everyone was given adequate notice that every single aspect.
Order. Senator Birmingham.
Thanks, Mr. President. Mr. President, there were a number of very specific questions that were asked of the Minister, such as how many sites has remediation work by Telstra been delayed at, whether there's been any delay to the handover of NBN sites, in terms of what number of delays have been experienced. And Mr. President, I note, with 10 seconds left on the clock, if the Minister doesn't have answers to those specific questions, which he has not answered in the 1 minute 50 he's had to date, perhaps he might at least take those specific questions on notice.
Well, that's not a point of order. I believe the Minister is answering the question. The Minister now, as you rightly pointed out, has 10 seconds remaining to answer the primary question. Wait a minute, Senator Conroy. You haven't been given the call before you get the opportunity for your supplementaries. Senator Conroy.
Mr. President, you might want to ask Senator Brandis to shut up, and that would help Senator Birmingham. But as I said, Telstra have suspended all remediation. NBN Co.
Order. Time has expired. Order. Senator Birmingham.
Thanks, Mr. President. A supplementary question. Has any reprofiling or adjustment to the planned schedule for the handover of Telstra pits to NBN Co occurred as a result of asbestos concerns? If so, in which states and on how many sites has this occurred? And again, can the Minister indicate on how many sites Telstra has delayed work and whether this has delayed handover of any NBN rollout sites as yet?
Minister.
Thank you. As I've already indicated, Telstra have suspended all their work while their discussion, that's all. I don't know how 100% is sort of all. NBN Co themselves have agreed that when they find a pit that needs augmented, as you're now familiar with that phrase, Senator, they will actually bring in experts who are specialists in handling the asbestos. So in terms of NBNCO's work, that is continuing along. They're not using their existing workforce, they're ensuring that they're all adequately trained to meet all the standards that were all set out. In terms of has there been any rescheduling of handovers, I think I've usually described as Telstra about 6 months on average, that's an average figure, ahead of the point where NBNCO come in and start connecting people's houses. I haven't got any information at all on that at all. I'm happy to take on notice to see if there's any information that's available, but I haven't been...
Time's expired. Senator Birmingham.
Thanks, Mr President. I thank the Minister for taking that aspect of the question on notice. Final supplementary. Has NBNCO made any changes to the contractual expectations or policies it expects of its NBNCO contractors to adhere to as a result of asbestos concerns? And if so, what changes has NBNCO made in relation to its expectations of its contractors?
The Minister.
Thank you. The working party's had a number of meetings. I don't have an up-to-date brief on what, because it's been chaired by Mr Shorten. I don't have an up-to-date brief. There's been a number of agreements which were reached on the first day when we held the first meeting, and that was everyone be adequately trained. There was a discussion about what was appropriate level depending on what sort of work there was. But if there's any suggestion that NBNCO, as Senator Brandis and others on that side have tried to suggest that NBNCO didn't take it seriously, at least you were present. At least you were present when Mr Quigley stated that they took it very seriously from the day they engaged in this with Telstra. So people have sought to misrepresent what Mr Quigley said. Not you, Senator Birmingham, because you were actually present. But those on your side, I'm happy to find out any further information for you, taking that on notice, if there's been a change. But there's an agreement and a process that's being gone through at the moment on that working group.
Time's expired.